going to look at some post-installation configuration of our Windows Server 2012 system. Particularly, we're going to add the roles of Active Directory Server, DNS and DHCP. So as the system comes up, the server configuration tool will come up shortly. Server Manager, there we go. So we want to add some roles and features. So this screen comes up. You can bypass it in future by ticking the box skip this page by default, but it's useful to have a read of it once or twice. So next, role-based installation. Select the computer, in this instance only one computer. So we're going to add Active Directory Domain Services, and these are all the other things it wants to add in, so various tools and such. DHCP and the configuration tool, and DNS and its configuration tool. So that's all we want, but you can see there are a number of other roles you can add. So we go next. There are a number of features we can add, but any features that we do need will have been added by default as part of the requirements checking, or will be. But at this stage, there's nothing that we really want. So I'll just show you the list and next. So it just says these are the things that are going to happen. And yep, so are you sure you want to do this? Well, yep, so we click install. And so the system goes through and does all the installation of the software. Now I have actually chopped out some of the time that this takes, just so you're not sitting here watching something idle by. As you can see, sometime later, gets through all the configuration, all the setup, and we can now close this window. And on the left hand side you'll see there's various services, and there's some post deployment configuration steps to do, so we'll go through those. So for AD, we're creating a new forest, so I'm going to give it a name, 312.local, and next. And the functionality is this level. We can set various levels back, but it's a brand new system, so we'll set up at the top level we can. We want to enter password. Obviously need to get it right twice, then we can proceed. It's saying that it can't find an upstream DNS server, but that's okay. There's a standalone network. So various configuration things happen in the background. It set a NetBIOS domain name. Now by default it's taken the first part, but you can't have just numbers for a NetBIOS name. So I'm calling it 312local without the dot. That's as good a place as any for the various log files and the database file. So next. Chance to review some of the actions, and notice the button down here, view script. So if you want to brush up on your PowerShell, you can look at the script that will be generated, or that has been generated and will be run to invoke this Active Directory. Okay, and go. The various steps run. I'll see the results in the middle panel in a few moments. And everything's happening just swimmingly. Oh no, it's the check for the prerequisites. Okay, and now we install, and away we go. A little while later, a few more things show up on the screen. Now just one tip, often if there is a problem with your Active Directory, 9 times out of 10 there's a problem with your DNS. So system is going to reboot. So sometime later after the reboot and some extra configuration time, we come back into the server manager, and we've still got another post install configuration to do for the DHCP server. So fire up the DHCP config wizard, and next, and yep, use the domain administrator, that's okay, and done. Now DHCP is not much use to us unless we actually give it some addresses to hand out dynamically. So we need to create a scope. We're just going to deal with IPv4. So right click and go down new scope. Now previously I will have mapped out the scope name and the scope details. So just give it a name here. 312 local net. Starting IP address 10.22.50.101. Finishing at 200, so there's 100 addresses to be handed out dynamically, and I'm going to net mask that down to 24 bits, so only 200 or so hosts all up. Any exclusions within that range? No. Any servers and fixed IPs will be outside the range. 8 days is the default lease duration. Any options? Well, yeah, I'll configure some. So default gateway, for the moment I'll put this server and add. And next, DNS, as you can see, the system's already configured the DNS server itself. Win server, don't care about the Windows Internet Naming System, and we're done. So now the system is ready for us to use and to start looking at bringing in a Windows client.